Channel movie. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. We're gonna watch a Disney Channel movie. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie.
Hello, everybody.
And welcome to episode 2 of what we're calling Decom Mania. Hopefully we'll be video form this time, because
Yeah, we had some technical errors the last time around. We're probably just going to keep it the way it is.
Yep.
But we're still new at this. This is attempt number 2. And we watched You Lucky Dog,
that is,
the second Disney Channel original movie, and technically the first, right? Because
Unwraps is technically the first, but
it wasn't done by...
it wasn't done by, they're all kind of done by various studios.
But this was done by Walt Disney.
Yeah, by Walt Disney proper, not, because I feel like Disney owns Hallmark. I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like there's enough there to say that Disney might own Hallmark.
That would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not aware of it, but hey, who knows all that happens behind the scenes.
But this is a movie for, I definitely remember from my childhood, but only for the longest time I thought it was a part of I thought I was imagining this.
See, I had that happen in kindergarten. We saw Totoro, and I did not know that was a real movie until my freshman year of high school, when it came on Toonami on spring break. I had the same idea where I had these vague flashbacks. I'm like, I must have just made it up.
Yeah, because it just feels like a fever dream of a movie, because
It is a fever dream.
they never showed it. Like, this is not one that
No.
they wheel out all the time. I remember it coming on, and just, they very much tried to bury this movie.
This
pun
is a
intended.
movie I watched for the first time like a year ago. I guess just less than a year ago when we got Disney Plus.
Because I wanted, because it was impossible to track down as well, because I could not find video of it, like, because there just wasn't a way to watch it. Like, there was no way, like, not even YouTube had it. And
But Disney Plus does. So we
Disney
watched
Plus.
it proper on Disney Plus.
They
It was
unearthed
my
it.
second time watching it in the last 9 months, as was Wes's. He's at least seen
Yep.
it once or twice before this.
yeah,
But
that's
let me tell you, I didn't get any more enjoyment from it the second time around. It's
so bad. It's mind-bogglingly bad, because there are so many good people in this movie.
let me pull up the cast list. So before we get into the plot, let's just talk about who is in this
My gosh.
movie.
And this
It stars pre-evangelical Kirk Cameron. I believe you said it was his last thing
This is
before.
okay. Of course we know we've done. I feel like this is the movie that broke Kirk Cameron, because after this he goes on to full evangelical movie syndrome. I'm not coin that term for Kirk Cameron, because man, you have things like Fireproof and Saving
Ooh.
Christmas and so many terrible movies.
Well,
he's
and
been.
the number 2 person on IMDb is also in some of those movies.
My gosh,
It's Chelsea Noble, who we just learned
is his wife?
is Kirk Cameron's wife.
I had no idea, but like it's.
It makes all the weird, awkward, advances by Kirk Cameron on this woman in this movie slightly, she's not fazed by it, and I guess it's because she deals with it in real life, but an actual woman would be like, you creepin'.
Very much, and she's just, I don't know, and she's fine, but she's not a marquee name. But she's only. I feel like she's notable because
Because of
married.
this and her connection to Kirk Cameron. Then we have actor very near and dear to my heart, John Delancey.
John Delancey is in this, and he's not in a lot of things.
He isn't in a lot of things, and he's very prominent in this movie.
He's very much one of the scene stealers, and but he's just not funny.
No, he's not. He's not funny. He's not charming either. And I know he's playing a villain, but he's very capable of being a charming villain. But his character is not written that way.
Yeah, and then
We would be remiss to not mention James Avery is one of the leads in this movie.
Such a waste of James Avery.
That says he does steal every scene he's in, which, I mean, makes sense because it's James Avery.
You just can't look at him and not say that's Uncle Phil. Because we know he's done a lot of prominent voice work. I mean, he was Shredder in Ninja Turtles, and apparently he was on 3 episodes of Star Trek.
Star Trek Enterprise. He was a
Trek
Klingon,
Enterprise.
so we've got 2 Star Trek alumni just right off the bat.
You can't escape the booming presence of Uncle Phil. But he's the opposite of Uncle Phil in this movie.
Yeah, but he still has a heart of gold.
He still has a heart of gold, but he's the
This time he's the driver.
Yeah, he's the driver, and oh man, but
it's also got late Taylor Negron is in this movie.
Yes, he is probably the highlight, but he's kind of that way.
He's like the comic relief of this because you've got 3 like evil relatives, and John Delancey plays the like obviously bad scheming one, and then you've got the woman who is just I'm so fancy,
obsessed with her looks.
Yeah, and then he's the idiot.
Yeah, he's the idiot, but he has some good jokes.
He does have some
I
great
would be remiss if I did not give him that. He has some jokes.
And there's just a great moment, too, where they're like, the relatives are down to their last penny because they've been disinherited. Or their last quarter. And he's like, are you kidding? We're down to our last quarter. And he's like, gotta use that last quarter for the vibrating bed. And then John Delancey, like, begrudgingly gives it to him. And then he's just,
starts kind of flopping around, like, on the bed.
It's one of the highlights of the film, honestly, and I can't say that about a lot of things in the movie.
And
it does have also the late Christine Cavanaugh for a whole 3
scene.
minutes. Yeah,
she's in the beginning of the movie, and we don't see her after, which is kind of a shame.
It is a shame.
Like he should have brought her back.
Oh, she definitely, when at the end of the movie, he's just like, I thought you'd want to be a part of a family, and see her be there as a manager of affairs or stuff. But
because that's how the movie starts. He's because Kirk Cameron
he plays a former boy dog psychic. He could read dogs' minds, or at least his dog's mind. Got all sorts of famous because of it. Launched that into a career of dog psychiatry, but was unable to read any other dog except for the dog he was connected to. And since then has become jaded and is obviously just coasting off of his former fame, and is actively exploiting and manipulating. Yeah. But his firm's finally going under. He's not having as many clients. People are starting to get the understanding of it.
And and he has this secretary who he just treats like crap because he's like, you haven't paid me, and I'm like, yeah, you should probably pay her.
Yeah, she's gonna go leave for another job, which is like a hostess at a chicken restaurant, not anything glamorous. And he's like, please, I'll pay you double. And she's like, I'd just be satisfied for what you owe me. And that's the last we see of this woman. And he gets incredible amounts of wealth by the end of it. And it just would have been nice to see her
get something.
Because they rescued all the dogs in the pound, which I'm all for. But
we never see Bernice's windfall.
We never see her again. And it was very clear that she was in his corner longer than anybody else was.
Yeah, she could have left a long. It sounded like she should have left.
She should have left a long time ago. She is a very I don't want to say tragic character because she's in it for 3 minutes, but if you look at the whole scope of the film and remember that she's a character, it just makes the movie that much more messed up. In James, or is it James? Jack, the main character that Kirk Cameron plays that much less likable.
Yeah,
he just forgets all about his old life. And
he just goes and does the weirdest things that people would do. Because the main plot, basically you can say, is that
he gets this
client comes in to get a reading on his dog.
Yeah, get a reading on his dog. And he immediately is like, I'm tired of this. I'm not going to do this because he can hear his barking inside of his head when the dog isn't barking. And he's like, okay, this is weird. I must not be feeling good. And then he goes out, tells this nice rich guy and his driver, James Avery, that, hey, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. We're not compatible. And then
he says something.
The old guy's at least is could you tell me what was wrong? And then he immediately zones in, tells him exactly what's wrong from the dog's perspective. And he's
you're not paying enough attention to me.
No, it's you're arguing with 3 people in your life, and I'm worried about your health.
Yeah.
Which is what he says to him. And the old guy's really impressed, and he's like, "Thank you. That actually makes a lot of sense given my current situation. I'm gonna leave. I know you won't take the dog, but like, here's like $50." And he's like, "I'm not gonna. Don't pay me because I didn't do anything." But he insists.
And yeah.
And we flash forward to a week later, where his firm is being shut down, or office. It's not a firm. He's not a lawyer.
But it's like he rented it out somewhere, like some like strip mall.
Right, and the client before this rich guy was a guy with his dog, and he walks in on their session, and it's just Kirk Cameron sleeping and the dog eating a hot dog.
Yeah,
and he's
not
just
a good
like,
look.
"You look, buddy, I'm gonna tell the mayor to shut you down." He's like, "You don't know the mayor," and then he gets a phone call from the mayor, and the mayor shuts him down. And that's the last we see of the secretary. The secretary's like, "Take something out," and she leaves.
Bye.
And then we get James Avery's character
comes back.
Calvin comes back and is like, "Hey, you're needed at this estate." And he's just like, "I told you, don't want anything to do with this." He seemed like he was a nice guy, but I don't want anything to do with him. He's like, "That's a problem. He's dead."
And he's dead.
And Kirk Cameron's like, "Well, that sucks," but he was old, and it's like, "No, I promise
he was an old guy.
Yeah, he's like, "I promise you want to come," and he's like, "Fine, I'll go.
It'll be worth your while."
And then we flash forward to the reading of this nice old man's will, and he's got his 3 just horrible nieces and nephews. He's got 2 nephews and a niece, and they are just
terrible
the worst.
people,
and just stereotypically the worst. You've got the one who's just an idiot. You've got the one who's just super vain, and then you got John Delancey, who's just like he's just he's scheming. He's just Q.
He's got one mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's Q
got
mode.
John Delancey mode.
And he's a schemy guy, and they're like, but it's, of course they write it out. It reminded me of the scene in Knives Out where they're reading the will.
Yeah.
And like,
it's very
like,
much
you
like
get
that.
you get a nice thing of furs,
Right,
and like
yeah,
you get like something stupid, and it's
yeah.
John
So
Delancey,
one of them John Delancey got nothing.
Yeah.
The idiot got his favorite sofa, or his favorite
chair.
chair.
Yes.
And then I think the woman got like her favorite like fur thing.
Yeah.
But just one, not
Just
the
one.
collection, just one.
just one, and
then the rest of the estate was left to his dog Lucky.
and a trust, and then they need dog psychic extraordinaire Jack to be able to be the proprietor of this estate, to basically
on behalf of Lucky
the
dog,
to like act on his whims and to basically control the money, because they were so impressed about him being a dog psychic that he essentially inherits.
What's worse about this is that means he inherits Calvin the driver. He just gets James Avery, and he gets the staff.
The staff too. Like, that's, I feel like I know they kind of have job security at this point because, you know, like they're like left in as well. Like,
right,
but
it just felt like indentured servitude. It didn't feel cool.
Yeah, the way they explain it is like you inherited it, and
it's like, you'll have a staff, and he's like, I like a staff. Anyway, it's on his first night there that he has his first incident with Lucky. And that is...
No, his first night there, after he's been told he's rich, he just acts like an idiot for like 5 minutes.
Which I'm not going to be upset about. If I found out immediately that, like, I was rich, I would also act like an idiot for 5 minutes. Maybe not the same way that Kirk...
In the movie. This is like
That's
you
fair,
see him at night in the bathtub where he's just flailing around
lavishly,
and like he exposes himself to the help when they kind of come to the bathroom.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
It is weird.
I can get being excited, but like he gets weird.
Yeah, I don't know. If I were him, I think I would definitely like call the lawyer, especially because he knows the lawyer's pretty.
Yeah.
Because the lawyer and the executor of the state is the woman who is actually his wife in real life. And he makes really creepy advances on her,
super creepy,
her daughter,
and his
daughter.
daughter.
Not in a sexual way, but like, I will be your new dad.
But no, it's just a scene later where they're like, he talks to her and she's looking at a puppy. And she's like, can we get a puppy? And she's like, no, we don't really have a place for a puppy. And it's like, well, dad has a yard and all these things. And it's like, well, you mean your dad are separated. And then Kirk Cameron just kind of strolls in and is like, hey, you like that dog? You can come be a part of my family. You can come visit him anytime. and there's no red flags or anything like that.
No,
like,
there's none. It reminds me of it's a line from Fire Emblem Fates, but it's your origin story. Your tragic origin story as a kid is you're taken by the evil family, and then you've got King Garen, who's just a jerk. But all you see and remember is just like him grabbing you, and he's like, "You're my child now." And like I just kind of go to that anytime there's a creepy, and I'm like, "I am your dad now."
But then it leads us into the part of the movie where he starts channeling the dog Lucky.
So he starts acting like the dog. The dog is still acting like the dog, and I didn't really get that the first time. I'm like, he's doing what the dog does. The dog isn't doing what he's doing, which honestly would have made the movie a little better.
Yeah, and like if the dog tried to walk on like two legs.
Yeah.
If it was like a two-way street,
Right,
no,
right.
it's
The
entirely...
dog's doing something, and then the dog starts digging for a bone, and then so he starts digging for the bone.
And then he has like the meeting with the dog saying, "Hey, don't get excited."
He had that before this. It is like, and I guess that's happened before with his previous dog. That
when he got
they got
excited.
excited. He got
turned,
sucked into it.
and he becomes like he channels the dog. Like
Yes.
he is no longer Jack. He is Lucky.
But he can still speak, and he's speaking the thoughts and opinions and actions and desires
Of Lucky.
of the dog, Lucky. The staff then sees this. Then he's like, "I'm gonna get a bone and get that nice like piece of flank." And then the woman's like, "Oh, you made a sexual advancement against me."
talking about me.
And he's just talking about the bone. Wakes up the next morning. The house is destroyed because apparently he and Lucky just chewed everything up.
But he has no memory of any of this, and that's the weird part.
That is
like,
the weird part. He knows he does it, but he has no.
They like treat it as like a dissociative episode,
Right.
where like he doesn't remember anything. He just wakes up and like piles of like ripped up furniture,
Chewing on a shoe.
yeah, which means the furniture's all ripped up. We gotta go get some new furniture.
Which we do. James Avery, the driver, is like aware of this, and I feel like for the only time in the movie that Jack, Kirk Cameron's character, is actually open about what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem with the movie is he's very secretive, and he has this desire to keep everything.
The whole liar reveal trope.
Right. It's not a good look. That all of this movie's problems would be solved if this guy was honest for just like 3 minutes. Like that's it.
Also, I feel like it was easier to prove if you did it in like a public space and like went in with your intention to prove, hey,
Right.
I can communicate with this dog.
Right. We're gonna go to the park. The dog's gonna get excited, and then I'm just gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the movie is
We go from
shenanigans to shenanigans. We go from
we went to the mall. We got a bunch of dog stuff.
and now we're renovating the house, the mansion, to look
But then
like
we have
dog
to be
stuff.
with the sad dog because we see like the dog's tragic flashback.
And that's honestly like the most like tragic part of the film, and what gives me the most pathos for it is he sees his master die, and it's a very emotional scene.
He
and
feels responsible.
He does, and we as a human audience see that as humans with our pets. It's weird to see it from the other way around, and I'm gonna be positive here. I think that really connected for me.
Because what happens is he's like.
He wanted to go for a walk. The master
then-
said no. Then the master collapses while they're on a walk in the cold, and
He feels
responsible for
but
it.
he has selective memory because
He does.
and like he doesn't show like any like three
We missed-
frames.
Yeah, we missed
before
the 1 minute before it, but that
he
would
had to cut exactly where
that would be telling.
that and because if the dog could have just remembered a single minute beforehand, and
The movie would have been over much
would have been
sooner.
much sooner, but we have the three goons, the three
We got the three relatives, and they went to a lawyer. The lawyer's like, "I can do this. Give me 30%." And they're like, "That's too much."
no, we can do it ourselves.
So then they go on a series of hijinks. Again, while Kirk Cameron's, being a dog for the movie, you've got the three relatives are bumbling at trying to do things themselves. One is they're going to film him, and the stupid relative didn't put any film in the camera, so
Yeah.
that hijink failed. Then the woman's going to go use her feminine wiles.
He's like, we can totally pay you a little bit. Just let us be in charge. And then he goes dog mode.
Because this is after they've gone shopping, so like
Yeah.
all the stuff's being moved in, and he was like, "Oh, steak, bark, bark, bark." And then she's being aggressive, and the dog's like, "Yo, I never liked you because you were mean to
I've
my
always wanted to
master."
do this, and rips off a piece of her like skirt.
But he does it with his mouth.
Yes. and no police were called, and nothing like that. We had to save that for the courtroom. We'll get to the courtroom later.
Get to the courtroom. Then, let's see. I feel like there's another moment with the dog before. No, there isn't. We get the nice,
have to go for
heartfelt moment where the dog got all the toys in the world and still doesn't want to do anything because he feels sad.
He feels sad.
And then Jack is going to bed, and the dog's like, I want to go to bed with you. And he's like, we're not doing that behavior. And then the dog gets his way and is like sleeping on the bed, taking all the covers. It's exactly what happens with me and my pets. Not this one. He sleeps with him. But my cats steal my covers all the time. And then this is when the three bumbling relatives decide they're going to
break in the house.
And their goal is literally to kill the dog.
To shoot the dog with tranquilizer darts. Because that's they believe... I don't know, like, was the legal advice saying if the dog dies, then everything goes to them?
That was not really explained. It was explained that if they found Jack mentally incompetent, then the entire thing would be reversed. And so that's what the lawyer wants to do. And he's like, this will be easy. But they're like, that's too much money. So they decide they're going to go in, they're going to tranquilize the dog, and I guess, like, take the dog just outside and have it run over by a car or something. Like,
yeah, some way to stage the dog dying.
Oh, by the way, the evil lawyer, like, right off the bat mentioned he was evil. He's like, I want 30%, and then, like, we can roast the dog and toast us winning.
Yeah.
And he's like, we'll roast it over, like, an open, like, a spit. And that's an actual line. This is something a lawyer... an actual human being says, and so he's just comically evil at this point.
But they fail miserably.
They all end up shooting each other with a tranquilizer, but none of them actually get tranquilized.
Yeah, like you'd think they'd go something like loopy or anything like that. That normally happens with like tranquilizer things,
right? But it doesn't.
From the
they all
cinematic
show up
movie.
in the next scene, which is actually the courtroom scene, all injured from their exploits, but.
No, they go back to the lawyer. And
right,
the lawyer's like, I want 50%.
He's like, I get 50%, but we'll do this tomorrow. And then they go live, and they're like, cool, we're going to sue him because he's crazy. And the old man was also crazy.
And then everybody's crazy here.
And then we get to the courtroom, and then
they
the lawyer woman
roast him.
The lawyer woman's like, do you have anything to tell me?
Do you have anything else? Before we go into this courtroom, do you have anything to tell me? Before the prosecution... Or no, the I guess they're not prosecution. They're
no, they're the prosecutors. Yeah,
they're not prosecuting. It's just two sides.
Yeah, the
I don't think you call it like, but
they are attacking. They are alleging.
I guess.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer either.
And nor was the evil lawyer in this.
No, but they're just roasting him. Like,
he lies to his lawyer, and he's like, I'm not going to do this. And then, they roast him. Everybody who's ever seen him do anything remotely
we have a
weird.
montage of people, except we do not see Bernice.
Nope, Bernice
I feel like
that
would be a prime person to bring in, like a prime witness.
She'd be she'd be the perfect character assassination. It's like, you've been running for him like 20 years, never heard a dog talk to him.
Exactly,
doesn't pay me. But again, they didn't bring that in. I guess good for us. Good for the good guys.
Good for
we
the good
forgot
guys.
about Bernice, the secretary from 3 minutes in the beginning of the movie. Then James Avery takes a stand, and he's like, he's a good guy. And he's like, has he ever done anything weird? He's like,
how long do you have?
He's like, he's definitely done weird things.
No, but he's like, how long do you have? And then he just is like, I assume like an hour goes by where he's just giving incident after incident.
And then like things are not looking good. The lawyer and Jack and Lucky the dog is in the courtroom because of course he is. Go back and they're like, how could you not tell me this? We're done. This is over. We've lost.
We got one more move. Put me on the stand again. Because he gets him on the stand the first time.
Right.
And he's like,
no,
he gets demolished
I haven't talked to a
by
dog
the lawyer.
Since I was a kid. I don't know why.
He just gets demolished by the lawyer. Like everything the lawyer is doing is just
perfect.
Like you could see the jury. The jury's like laughing the peanut gallery is just chiming in, and it's everything about that. Like he just gets absolutely annihilated in court until the secret testimony happens.
And he's like, I gotta channel Lucky in the courtroom, and that'll prove I'm not crazy. So they make the dog excited.
No, first he has a blank moment. It's like, I
don't know. He's not excited enough.
He's not excited.
Not adding to credibility.
And then the judge, who is Judge in everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've seen her
a
so
lot
many times
before.
in Boston Legal. She
Yep.
she was a frequent on Boston Legal and tons of other shows. She has resting judge face. Like
She does.
And-
she got typecast.
and she does it very well. She
does.
like, but because she has like a line like that, like when they go to start proving that he has communications with Lucky, and they sort of like, Judge, how could you possibly? She's like, I'll allow it.
And yeah, so he gets Lucky excited, and he has himself turn away from what's going on. So Lucky and the lawyer are looking, or Lucky and the good lawyer are looking at the evil lawyer, while Jack is looking at the jury. And then the good lawyer is like, okay, bad lawyer, produce any object you want, show it to Lucky the dog, and Jack will describe it to you. And he pulls out a pen, and then we get a great joke. It's like, oh, that's a stolen hotel room pen. Did you steal the towels too? And then everybody's like, we're back on his side now.
Yeah,
After
telling
one thing.
jokes.
And then the lawyer's like, this proves nothing. And the lawyer's like, show him something. Or the judge is like, show him something else.
Something else. And then like, what did they do next? It was
What was it next?
chocolate bar.
It was a chocolate bar, but like put it in front of the dog
Come
and
on.
listed like all the ingredients in it, and then said it was his favorite chocolate bar. And dogs can't eat chocolate.
Everybody knows that dogs cannot have chocolate,
except for Kirk Cameron.
except for Kirk Cameron as Lucky. But then okay, this triggers back to the beginning of the movie because we go back
to the flashback where Lucky witnesses
John
the death.
Delancey puts some like Tums,
Yes,
or
he's
some
putting
like
like
antacid.
Alka-Seltzer into
in his
antacids
water.
into his water,
And then
that
all of a
triggers
sudden-
the flashback where we're seeing him in a clear bottle that's marked poison, putting it into the drink that the master gets.
Now this is not like 10 seconds
This
before
is 10 seconds.
the
Then John
previous flashback
Delancey
we've
looks at the
seen.
dog, motions shush, and then runs away, not being heard by the old guy. The old guy pours milk into his coffee or whatever, and
then he dies.
And then
But-
Lucky can't figure it out because Lucky's a dog and I guess doesn't know what poison is.
Yeah,
despite
he
the fact
has
that
understood
he
so many
previously
other
shopped for
things.
furniture.
But does not get poison.
Right. But Jack, as a human, knows exactly what a bottle of poison means.
Which also confusing with his like cognitive dissonance, where it's like he somehow now remembers.
Now he remembers.
Other
what
times he doesn't
did.
remember when he
Right.
is as Lucky, but now he suddenly remembers.
Yep. And then we get to a very interesting bit because I feel like at this point the movie just needed to wrap
It
itself
goes off
up.
the rails.
He's like, okay, you tell him, John Delancey, what did you do? And John Delancey didn't be like, I don't know what he means.
Yeah, there's like a moment. He's like, I don't know what he means. 2 seconds later, pulls out a gun
Then-
and just starts pointing at everybody.
And he points it at a security guard, and the security guard's like, well, I'm outgunned. And then there's another security guard, and he points it at him, and he's also like, well, I'm outgunned. And both security guards sit down.
And then
He and the family are starting to back up and get out of there. And then Lucky makes a beeline around, jumps, and attacks John Delancey.
And
John
then he
Delancey
shoots
shoots
his
the
gun,
gun.
and then-
They're apprehended because the security guards are like, wait, there's more of us than there are of him.
yeah, it's almost like we're not doing our job.
And then we find the
Then Lucky is-
incapacitated body of Lucky, and Jack comes down and he's like, come on, boy. I need you just as much as you need me, and I can't lose you now.
Can't live without you, Lucky.
You taught me so much. And then Lucky gets up, and then obviously perfectly fine, and then the lawyer lady's like, oh, it just grazed his ear.
Oh, we forgot the most important part of the movie. While Jack is channeling Lucky in the courtroom, goes into the most
Oh,
sappy,
no.
like sugary,
Like monologue,
Grown
all
monologue
about, like,
about-
I gotta know how much life matters, but it's
gotta
all from a
treasure
dog's
life.
perspective. And he's like, but even then, as a dog, he knows he has a shorter lifespan than humans, and he's just like, I guess it takes somebody in my short lifespan to know you shouldn't listen to the breeze. Don't
just-
forget where you buried that bone.
it might as well have been follow your dreams, reach for the stars, but if you miss, you're still in the space, and every cliche you could possibly level. Like, he just keeps rattling. Like,
You chase
as-
that mailman, and you never forget it.
and you enjoy life and live life to the fullest, and because it could be your last day, and I
But again,
know
it's
that's
all from a dog's perspective. Every metaphor he uses
because he's
is
Kirk Cameron channeling the dog, and and it's just the worst speech ever.
Oh, it's so bad. With like a
it's-
very generic, just like
Follow your dreams.
uplifting score underneath it, where it's like,
Yeah.
bum, 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 bum,
It's one of the worst movie speeches I've ever heard.
It's bad.
Like, it's so generic and cheesy and sappy, and it comes out of nowhere too. Like, there's like, okay, we get that he has to make some kind of appeal to the jury,
Right,
Like, he
but
has to make some
it's-
kind of like,
it goes south real fast.
it just ends up being like those Coach Taylor speeches in Friday Night Lights, just kind of like that, but so much cheesier. It's like open hearts, open minds, follow your dreams,
Eat that bone.
carpe diem.
Don't forget where you buried it.
It's just so
It's-
bad.
Yeah.
But back to Lucky being incapacitated on the ground, and so you just see Jack, and he's on top of him. He's
Right,
like,
and
"You
then-
gotta be here."
And then,
then-
and then it's like, oh, it just grazed his ear, and he
pops
gets up
right
just
up.
fine. He's like, oh, I'm,
It's like you
I'm
could
fine.
see that, just like
Right, you could clearly tell the dog
And then
was
they
fine.
have like an all moment because he's like, "Oh, grazed his ear," and then Kirk Cameron goes, "Ow!" and grabs his ear, and the whole jury's like, "Oh!"
like, oh, we've been on his side the entire time.
It's just such a 180 because like starting out the trial, he was just getting roasted,
And then it gets worse.
yeah,
We cut to we're at the mansion, and it's the lawyer walking in, and then we find the lawyer's daughter playing with the puppy she wanted earlier, and Kirk Cameron's like, we got the dog she
got the
wanted.
dog you wanted.
And she can stay here, the puppy can stay here with Lucky, and you can come visit anytime you want. And it's like, you're basically a part of the family. And it's like, do you want to be a part of the family?
it's just unsettling. Like part of it, like him talking to her,
Mm-hmm.
like because I feel like he's emotionally manipulating her through her daughter.
100%.
Through-
That's 100%.
It's like you want your
what
daughter
he's
to love you,
doing.
right? You want your daughter to love you more than your ex-husband.
You always said you had liked a big family. You can be a big family with me. And then we pan
That is
out.
the actual
and-
line.
Yeah, and then we pan out, and turns out that Lucky adopted every dog in the pound, including the lady dog he was
There
looking
was
at,
a lady dog in there for a
Mhm.
second,
And yeah, that's
that's the movie,
that's the movie.
and it's just so bad. Like
I took notes for the last one. I started taking notes and then I gave up.
yeah, because I mean it's
The movie is so repetitive. It's so just not interesting.
and it's such a waste of so many good people. Like I was a fan of Kirk Cameron. I loved Growing Pains growing up. I loved that show.
And it's just not funny. It is not a funny movie.
It's funny when it's bad. Like there's moments that are so bad they're just like I gotta laugh here.
I
'cause
guess, but even then, on my second watch, I'm like, oh gosh, why is
It's-
this a film?
it just goes on and like
And it keeps going, and then it stops, and it stopped, and you're like, I have more questions than I started with. I am
And-
questioning my own existence, and that was not a question the movie posed to me.
no, and I don't know, like just so many. The hard part is there's so many talented people, and
There
I don't.
are.
And the acting is not bad.
The acting isn't bad. They're
It's
doing
just-
the most of what they got.
Yeah,
it's just,
everybody's
it's not
trying.
a good script.
It's not a good. It's nothing is works about it. Like I mean,
No, and again, it's not the actor's fault. You can clearly tell everybody there is trying, and they're trying their best, but
Yeah.
just everything is just really cliched and not good, and the movie's just really repetitive.
And-
It's 90 minutes of the same 20-minute shtick.
yeah,
and
you could have
it's-
told the entire story in 20 minutes. Like,
Yeah, this whole plot could have been like a 10-minute prose, like in finals.
yeah.
That's,
But then we have one of the more noteworthy art aspects is the song. There's a song that bookends the movie at the
yeah,
start.
it's
It
the start at
literally
the end,
bookends. It's
yep.
starting at the end, and it's discount Randy Newman, which I didn't think was could be a thing, but it's
and
like
this movie gave it to us. It's
Friendship
like,
is good.
Friendship is good. It's gonna last forever. You should be friends. Don't ever be mad.
it's kind of reminded me of like a little bit of like Randy Newman mixed with the Family Matters theme song, and it's what are the Full House theme song. I think they're done by the same guy, but I feel like it's the guy who did.
Milkman, the baby boy.
It sounds like the same
You
person.
did
I'm
Jimmy.
fascinated to find out if it actually is the same person that did those theme songs. Because it sounds
Everywhere you
like
look, everywhere.
Because he has like kind of the
you find heart,
raspy.
you find heart.
It's not as deep as Randy, because Randy
No,
Newman
yeah,
is,
he's got a deep voice.
he's got a giant tongue. Where it's like,
Yeah.
I can see my giant tongue. But no, like it's the same kind of like raspiness as like as the Full House and the Family
Yep.
Matters theme song. But I wonder if it's done by the same. I'm gonna have to look it up later.
Yeah, well, we'll have to find out.
But it is just so cornball and like Randy Newman, like it's just. But
You've got a friend in that thing. You've got a friend in that thing.
and it doesn't work on
Some
any
other
level.
folks might not understand your friends, but you've got a friend in that thing.
Yeah, but okay, if we have to compare it to Under Wraps, where does it? How does it? Clearly, Under Wraps is better.
Under Wraps is better.
But what letter grade are we looking at here?
I'm giving it a D minus.
I'm also giving it a D minus.
The only thing that prevents it from an F is the stellar cast. Yeah,
Cast
it's
lifts it up, but it is one of the worst Disney Channel original movies by far.
and just one of the worst movies I have ever had to see twice.
Yeah, it's because
Sometimes I recognize it's a bad movie and I don't watch it again. But for
Yeah.
this podcast, I watched this movie.
we
again.
watch You Lucky Dog again because we feel we have to.
We got to. It is available on Disney Plus,
It is
so
available,
you can
so you
watch
can-
it legally, which we
Yeah.
fully recommend. Disney Plus is a fantastic service. You can bundle it with your Hulu or ESPN Plus account.
Oh yeah, and it's nice like that.
It's nice, and we were already grandfathered in because it came with the ad-based Hulu. There are no ads on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
but
I feel like they're ads for other shows on Disney Plus, like that they are.
I guess so. But I mean, I don't mind seeing an ad for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they're like other Disney Channel.
Right.
It's like if you ever remember watching Disney Channel,
Right,
You
it's
only
kinda-
ever
you
saw
only ever saw
ads
ads for
Disney
other
Channel,
Disney Channel
which is
things.
good and bad. Which
Yeah.
means they didn't market towards children.
I mean, it's sad because they've changed that now. But
Have they?
Yeah, I do remember as a kid, you only ever saw promos
Yeah,
and stuff for other
Disney Channel shows.
things, or then it's just like the
Or PSAs. Like
Yeah,
they had various
exactly, yeah.
PSAs and stuff, but that's
or then you had like Disney 411 or
oh yeah, where they were just kind of like,
Mike's Super Short Show or
gosh, you infected that theme song is now it's back. Oh man.
But yeah, so it gets a D minus. It's not great. It's and again, I wouldn't call. I mean, just Under Wraps is by far away from the best, and I guess that's the advantage here is we've not even begun to scratch the surface. I would call Under Wraps like the bar. That's
Yep.
what is like tolerable.
We're gonna evaluate all the other ones by how good they are in comparison to Under Wraps.
That's kind of nice too, is we get to add a new movie every time that our bar will change and grow. I'm really curious to see if we will find an F.
I think there's an F in there.
I think I can.
I'll leave it as a
think,
surprise,
I think I know.
but I
I
think
think
there
I
isn't-
can
there
think
is an
of
F
the
in there.
definitive F.
This is about as close as we get right now, but there is.
There's a movie I'm thinking of that
But
is
we'll get there another
it's
time.
a definite F. We'll get there next time. Next up is Brink.
Rink, which
As
watched many times as a child,
it's another one I missed. So
and I think it's one they still play.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I do believe they still, and for whatever reason, because I mean, it's no longer relevant.
Right. I watched it this year. I've seen it in the decade that has been 2020.
Yeah.
And it's an all right film.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there next time. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Hopefully, the video is all right now, so I'll be able
Yeah,
to use
we'll try the
version,
video, and
and
again,
we'll have it on podcast servers as well. So
yeah, and we're gonna try to get this done, and then
let us know what you guys thought of You Lucky Dog, and if we're too harsh on this movie. And
yeah,
even though we're
definitely
100%.
definitely leave us comments if we're too harsh on this, if we were too lenient on Under Wraps. Definitely engage with us. We can have a conversation about this. And but yeah, and just give us some time. We conceived all of this in like a 3-day period, so we're still trying to get on the ground, still trying to figure this stuff out.
Yep.
But I can only figure it'll get better with time, especially as we start watching better movies
Better and
aren't-
worse movies, because
that aren't You Lucky Dog.
Yeah, because that is a doozy early. So at
It
least we're getting it
is.
out of the way. At least
We got it out of the way.
got it out of the way, and there's some good ones on the horizon.
Yeah, we
And
got some good ones up
we
close.
hope you join us later. Have a good day.
Bye.